Hi, my name is Henry Serrato. I'm the CineSol Film Festival director, and here we have via Zoom, via 2020, it's Daniel Ramos, the director of Margarita Man. How are you doing, sir?
Good, thank you, Henry, for having the Margarita Man on your film festival at CineSol. So thank you.
No, thank you. I
Thank
mean,
you.
as you know, I mean, 2020, we would have loved to have had you here in person, but this is what we got to do. This is the way we got to do it now. So
I know, and I just hope everyone is safe out there. And yeah, I would have loved to been out there with you guys in person, and so are the cast members. But I love this. I'm glad that like you guys are all about the show must go on. So I'm with you on this. So thank you for
no,
having me
thank you.
on.
Yeah, thank you. And as you mentioned, the cast, I mean, we're going to be joined in a little bit by Anthony Guajardo, one of the actors, and Barry
Mhm.
Corbin. But for a little bit, it's just going to be you and I one on one, just to get a little bit more background about you as a filmmaker. So,
Yeah.
um, you are based in San Antonio, correct?
Yeah, San Antonio, Texas, here, of course, and went out to Los Angeles for about 15 years in 1999, and then just came back in about 2014 or something like that, back to Texas, and so this is actually my first independent feature full length film, The Margarita Man. So yeah, I'm excited about it, and had a great cast and crew and producers and writers and everyone are all from San Antonio and are good friends of mine, and kind of surrounded myself with a good team, you know.
Margarita Man. So, is that based on a true story? Is that based on Danny's real life?
No, it's actually it's based on a story about my brother Miguel, Miguel Ramos, and back in the late '90s and early 2000s, he had a Margarita Man company, which was called Margarita Express. At one point, I was going to name the movie Margarita Express, like the Pineapple Express, but I said, you know what? He was the Margarita Man in San Antonio, and I actually got, and I can go ahead and say this, the Margarita Man company. There's a company, Henry, that does these frozen margarita machines at all events, and they're like franchised all around the nation. You probably have a Margarita Man down south over there. They have one in Dallas, Austin, L.A., New York, Chicago. So they're all over. And so I got with the owner of the Margarita Man company and the president and said, I'm going to make a movie called The Margarita Man. You guys want in on this with me and help me out? And sure enough, they sponsored it and came through. So they are contributing producers of the film as well.
So,
Laurent Perron and Candace Perron.
so was it a tough sell to buy the filming rights from your brothers? Say, hey, I'm going to
I,
offer you this much.
like the way we get each other from the headlock and yeah, we tug of war. No, no, he was. I told him a long time ago when he was the Margarita Man. I said one day I'm gonna make a movie about you, and I've been working on it for a long time. Now I did. It is a fiction, nonfiction kind of film. I did do a little Hollywood twist to it. I love the '80s. I was graduating in '85 in San Antonio at Highlands High School, so it was all about the 80s for me, and I kind of wanted, and I got with Aaron Lee Lopez and the writers David Reyes and those guys, and Steven Gutierrez and Paul Matthew Lopez. I got with the guys and said, look, I'm trying to make a 2000 and a present film, but I want to bring a little bit of that 80s flair to it, a feel of some good, wholesome films, like fun movies that we watch, from Ferris Bueller's Day Off to a lot of films back then, from Flamingo Kid. I don't know if you guys remember Flamingo Kid with Matt Dillon.
You're showing
And
your age,
heck,
Danny. You're showing your age.
I know, but I mean, I already have the whites already. So you know what? It's all good. I could have dyed it, but you know what? It's all good because I love the 80s, and to try to do that in the present time, I thought that was an interesting challenge for me to get some quality film without blood, without profanity, kind of keep it clean for the entire family. And I hope everyone enjoys the Margarita Man movie.
And now, does this, is there going to be a sequel? Is there going to be a Margarita Man cinematic universe or franchise?
That's funny that you say that because the executive producer was my friend John G. Avildsen. He passed away during pre-production, but he's an Academy Award-winning director for Rocky in 1976. So John had directed the Rocky sequels, but he directed the Karate Kid sequels. The trilogy of Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, and so. when I was talking to John about this, about the Margarita Man, we had dinner, we had lunches out there in LA, and he said, you know what, it wouldn't be a bad idea, oh boy, to be doing Margarita Man 1, 2, and 3. So that is my intentions, and I'm in development. I'm doing part 2 right now, and so I think the next one I'm going to have quite a bit of more celebrities involved in Margarita Man 2.
And here's my suggestion. That way we have it for future record.
Yep.
Margarita Man 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Look at that. You know what, Henry? You're going to have to come over here,
Yeah.
or I'm going to have to go down south over there and be with you guys and film a little bit down there. I do want to maybe shoot some scenes in South Padre Island. So, you know, we're going to get to that page, and I'm going to get you involved and help me out on that.
Well, thank you. So you mentioned you've worked on quite a bit of everything, and from directing and writing and producing. What is your most memorable gig in this industry? What's the most thing you're most proud of that you took part in?
Wow. I mean, there are a handful of things, Henry. But you know, one thing that I'm proud of, and I showed it on Margarita Man 1, was to work with that Academy Award winning director that I was his assistant. I was the assistant to the director on 8 Seconds in 1994, working with an Academy Award winning director. Being that we got close enough to where, you know, he took my phone calls, he was able to meet up with me. He turned out to be my dear friend, and I know he's looking down right now because he's in a beautiful place now. He was my mentor, he was my motivator, you know. And so I think, like what you said, my answer is that John G. Avildsen was my inspiration to everything, as far as having to be fortunate to work with an Academy Award winning director like that, and having him involved in the Margarita Man movie. So, you know, I think that's my memory. I have a lot of them. You know, Selena, worked on the Selena movie. That's, again, that's a very personal thing because I used to go to her concerts, and well, again, I already showed my age already, but you know what? Just working with that family, Abraham Quintanilla on the set, he's being an executive producer on that, and his daughter, and you know, working around that family, working with Jennifer Lopez, and that was an honor. I mean, so there's a lot of memorable moments that I worked with, and remember a lot of things from Kenny Rogers on the Gambler movies, and so there's a lot of fun things. But I think John G. Avildsen, going back to when I first started and now still involved in the movie, you know, I dedicated it to him in the memory section of the film, including my fiance that passed away during this, and you know, she was a CFO on, you know, for Drop Zone Films, my company, and she passed with cancer. So, you know, and my mom passed away. So, you know, everyone really helped me out, Henry. It was a family. The city of San Antonio, the film commissioner, like you said, they were all very supportive, and you know, I wouldn't have been able to do it without a lot of people. But like I said, Aaron Lee Lopez was the backbone. His production company and my production company merged together to make this film.
But you got a lot of big names on screen.
Yeah.
That's quite a few. Like, how did that happen? Where did all the budget money come from to get those people in?
That's funny. I had some savings. You know, it's hard to get investors to invest in your film.
Right.
As a producer, as an executive producer of your own company, um, you know, to meet up with investors that have money to support your film, it's hard because they have to see that you're investing in your film as well. Like, how much money are you putting in? You know, like, oh, I'm not putting in anything, I'm just directing it, and I have this great idea, I need your money. Well, they're not going to give it to you. They need to see that, are you investing in your own self? Are you, how much are you putting in before I put in money? So those are the things that were happening during the Margarita Man. So I learned a lot, and I said, you know what, film 101, when I first went to college: never invest in your own film. Get monies from other people to invest in your film, because you might not get a dime back or a penny back. In my age now and in my career and this is my first independent feature film, Henry. I said, you know what? I'm gonna break that. I'm gonna break that and not follow that film 101, not to invest your money. I am gonna invest in my own money because I am investing in myself as a businessman. And in order for me to get something done, you have to do it yourself. And when you do it, like they say, when you build it, they will come. And so I had to do that. I had to do that. So I went through my savings. And again, father, my dad is a big time executive producer on this film. Raul C. Ramos, my brother. There's quite a bit of producers. And if you can see the credits, you'll see all the producers from Anna Armstrong and like I said, there's a lot of producers. Even our lead actor is a producer. You know what I mean? So
Right, and that's kind of leading up to my next question. I mean, you just said one of the rules as a filmmaker, but what would be your advice other than don't invest in your own film? But what would be your advice to up and coming filmmakers that are tuning into this virtual meeting and they want to know how to do a feature film in their city? Like, what's your advice?
yeah. Well, what I learned from John and his my advice from John was when I asked him as a young filmmaker working as his assistant, I asked John, the director of Rocky, John, what advice would you give me? And you know what he told me, Henry? Straight out, he told me, go direct. If you want to be a director, go direct. And I didn't get it. I thought he was being sarcastic, like, go direct, that's the answer. The answer was simple. And he told me, pick up a camera, tell your story, and get your cast members and direct them. And if you have a good story and you have actors that can read their lines, and you have to get some professional actors, go to your acting theaters in your town and find qualified actors that could read script, that can get into that character and make it believable, then you're going to tell your story. But if you don't get professional actors and you don't have a good story, or you're not telling your story and you're telling somebody else's story, it's a little difficult. Just stay with the story and tell the story, beginning, middle, and end, and surround yourself with qualified people that can help you and not hurt you, with sound, with good movement on cameras, and everything else. You learn to appreciate when you go to film school and you learn this. And all the people that are right now watching that are in film school, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Sharpen your tools, sharpen your skills, so when you're out there, you're not messing around, because we're creative filmmakers, we're creative artists, and we have to uh, tell a story and display something, if it's on TV or if it's on the silver screen. You still have to tell your story, and you have an audience out there that you have to captivate. If you don't captivate the audience, they're not going to be interested in watching your film. So that's my advice.
That's good. I feel inspired. I feel like I want to go direct now. Thanks. All right, Danny. So I know coming up soon we have Anthony Guajardo and Barry Corbin, but you got a couple of other big stars appearing in this film. So uh, this is an opportunity to name drop. Who do you got, and how did you get these names?
you know, um, it was very tough. It really is, to get actors like Jesse Borrego from Blood In, Blood Out. The good thing is that I've worked with some people. I've known some actors already, and they've known some of my work. So that kind of really eased, to try to get them involved in the Margarita Man and sending them the script so they can read it. But shooting in San Antonio, Jesse lives in LA and he lives in San Antonio, so I was able to get Jesse Borrego. Pepe Serna, Aaron Lee Lopez. I worked with Pepe Serna. He came out on Scarface, and he's come out on Car Wash and A Million to One, and he's come out on a lot of films like Downsizing with Matt Damon. So getting Pepe Serna was amazing, and so I was able to get Jesse and Pepe. Once I got Jesse and Pepe, and having Anthony Guajardo from Walking Dead on the AMC as an actor, um, I was then we were the producers were also from Andrew Saldana or Aaron or Anna Armstrong. We were also able to get Barry Corbin And Barry Corbin's come out in War Games. He's the one that says, "Take us to DEFCON 4." He was that general, and he's been on The Ranch on Netflix, and he's been on Northern Exposure. He's been on a lot of films, and such as Urban Cowboy as Uncle Bob. So having Andrew and Tommy G. Warren and getting with the agent, we were able to bring in Barry Corbin to play the police chief, and then Danny Trejo, the machete, to try to get Danny Trejo again. Aaron Lee Lopez, God bless him. He ended up working with Danny Trejo before. Aaron was the writer and the producer of the Margarita Man, so we were able to communicate with Danny Trejo. Told him that we're doing an independent film, and he was really excited about it. And we met up with him out there at his house in LA. And then we went to his home, beautiful Machete garage home, and we talked a little bit about the Margarita Man, and he wanted on board. So I would get with his agent, Gloria, and we were able to lock him in. So having those actors on board really, really helped me out. Again, there's also like Sebastian de la Cruz. He was on America's Got Talent as a little mariachi singing at the San Antonio Spurs game. And so having Sebastian de la Cruz come in as a young actor, Valeria Haraji, she was on Fox on The Deputy, a show on Fox called Deputy with Stephen Dorff. And so Valeria Haraji came in, and we had Raymond Horta. He's a comedian here in Texas. Que
Yeah,
se
we know
agüitan,
he's
se
from
cuel-
down here, so we're very familiar with Raymond.
Oh, so you guys already know who Raymond Horta is. So he's in the Margarita Man. He was excited to be in the film as well. Again, one of the producers got a hold of him. So surrounding myself with these producer guys, Henry, I was able to bring these actors in. So it wasn't just a one man show with me. I surrounded myself with good writers and producers and what have you, and that's how we made it possible. You have to surround yourself with a good team, and that's what we did on the Margarita Man.
I want to go
So
back on one particular star specifically for the meantime is Danny Trejo. I mean, it was weird
yeah,
seeing him playing against what he normally plays. He usually plays
right,
a villain or an assassin or a
that's right.
machete guy. I
Yeah,
mean,
killing and
killing,
blood
killing.
and bad words and
When I saw
everything.
him in this movie, I expected him to kill half the campus.
Yeah. That's when people go like, "What? Danny Trejo's in this movie?" It's a comedy, romantic college comedy, whatever. And we know Danny from like Heat with Robert De Niro, and he's all bloodied up from Con Air and from Machete. So having him clean up as playing the dean and being this, professor, this, dean at a university, put him in a suit, put his hair back in a ponytail. Man, I'm telling you, I know it's a comedy and I got away with it, but he really pulled it off. Amazing actor to work with, very sweet, very nice. It gave me the respect on the set as a first time director. And it was a blessing to work with him on the set. And I enjoyed every minute of it on everyone and every, even the secondary and thirdary actors, from Sean Coding to Renessa Sanders being the lead or the co-star to Anthony Guajardo, and everyone. My family was in the film. Aaron's family was in. It was just like a family team effort. Again, just surrounding yourself with those kind of people really helps you out in making an independent film.
And in fact, we recently discovered that you kind of have a tie to a film that we screened last year.
Oh,
We screened Our Quinceañera last year in
yeah,
2019, and it was voted Best Documentary of our film festival. And we
yeah.
just remembered that we met each other already.
That's right. Fanny and Nelson were on the red carpet, and it was a beautiful documentary that Fanny directed. And believe it or not, Aaron Lee Lopez again was involved in that project, and he brought me in as one of the cameramans with Daniel Maldonado, which was the director of photography on Our Quinceañera, which was Fanny's documentary, and he was my DP We're all friends. We all know each other. We all work together on different levels, but we're all independent filmmakers and we're hungry and we want to work together and make beautiful projects. So it was a blessing to work on Our Quinceañera, and I remember it was at the CineSol, and amazing, and good job for her and good job for you guys for having that.
And one of the things we talked about ahead of time when we were preparing for this meeting, we talked a little bit about your background, and you were telling me about this amazing story. The one time that you were a paparazzi, and then Britney
Yeah.
Spears and Kanye West. So you're all over the place, Danny.
Yeah, well, when I was living in LA, Henry, it's expensive out there to live. The cost of living is crazy. So I had a gig as a 3 year producer for Shapiro Entertainment. After my 3 year contract was over, I had to pick up the camera as a director and find a story for me to keep busy. So I'm a freelancer at this point, and I met a paparazzi guy named Tuan Pham, and he lived in my area where I was living at. And he was from Texas, from Austin, and he was a paparazzi. And I had nothing better to do but to say, "You're a paparazzi?" Well, he says, "Yeah, you want to do a story about me?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'll do a documentary about you. Let me ride with you. Come on a ride with me, and I'll show you who I'm working on, different celebrities." So I jumped in his truck, got my camera equipment, and started started filming him inside the vehicle, kind of like the TV show Cops. And I'm with him, and he's following Britney Spears, Julia Roberts, Miley Cyrus, Michael Jackson, and I'm like, what? Like, this is crazy. I never seen anything like this before. And I'm, as a filmmaker, I'm documenting everything. I end up doing the documentary. It's a 1 hour documentary. I interviewed 5 different paparazzos, or about 6 of them. And it's called Paparazzi Full Throttle LA. It got picked up by distribution. It's a 1 hour reality documentary. It's a multi-award winning film, won a films awards in New York and LA and Beverly Hills. And now Gravitas Ventures, a distribution company, picked it up, and it went on Hulu. It's now on Amazon. You can find it on Tubi TV now. So hopefully you guys can catch Paparazzi Full Throttle LA. Aaron Lee Lopez also was a producer because he lived out there in LA with me. He was also an editor. He was one of the cameramen. So, it's like, again, surrounding yourself with those people like an Aaron Lee Lopez, that really helped me out. And I was able to return the favor and help him out. It's a two-way street when it comes to buddies and friends of yours that are in the industry to help you out. If you're only just looking out for yourself, it's a one way, it doesn't work. You have to, it's a give or take. You have to help each other out and motivate each other so we can go to the next levels.
So hi, my name is Henry Sarato. I'm the CineSol Film Festival Director, and this year we are going virtual, and we had the honor of screening Margarita Man. And today joining us, we have Daniel Ramos, the director of Margarita Man. We have Anthony Guajardo, and we have Barry Corbin joining us. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Henry.
So again, our apologies. It's 2020. This is virtual, so this is how it's going to be for now. We would have loved to have had you guys screening down here in the Rio Grande Valley in person, but this is the show must go on. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. So I'm going to just start things off first a little bit with the director, Daniel Ramos. So Daniel, I know we talked a little bit briefly one-on-one here, but what made you want to shoot Margarita Man in Texas? Because I mean, there's a lot of films that are shot in other locations and they pass it off as another city. Why San Antonio?
San Antonio, born and raised in San Antonio. I'm a Texan, for one. I know I've been out there in LA for about 15 years, but coming from San Antonio and being involved in the film industry for 30 plus years, I always told myself, whenever I direct a film, the first place I'm going to do is my hometown. And that's what I did, the Margarita Man. And I was blessed to have the actors that you see now, Anthony Guajardo from The Walking Dead on AMC, Barry Corbin. Everyone knows who Barry Corbin is. I mean, he's got a long list of acting movies and films and TV. So I was very blessed that Barry came in and the producers, Andrew Saldana, Tommy G. Warren, Anna Armstrong, Linda McAllister to bring in Barry to be a part of the Margarita Man. So that was my number one thing, was to film in Texas, and San Antonio is where I'm from, and I was just blessed that Barry was able to come down, and Anthony Guajardo too.
And when the script was being written, did you have certain actors already in mind, or did that come afterwards?
The majority of the actors that I had in mind, because it's not a studio picture, and in the beginning, I was trying to pitch it to a studio where I had actors in mind that I really would like to get to have had. Barry was one of them, and Danny Trejo was one of them. I was looking for the lead actor, and going through all those reels and auditions, I knew when I saw Anthony Guajardo, I knew that he was going to play Miguel Martinez, and that's who I wanted. So there were a lot of great actors out there. There are a lot of professional actors, but it's something that I believe that Miguel or Anthony Guajardo was going to pull it off. And so, yeah, you have a sense of what you want, but it doesn't sometimes work that way when you do an independent film. And so having producers around you and a good team in production, producers that knew Barry Corbin, like Tommy G. Warren, Andrew Saldana, Anna Armstrong being involved in that, and getting with Linda McAllister. To have Barry Corbin was a joy. It was a God sent. It was a blessing to have Barry Corbin in the Margarita Man. I was like, my head almost exploded when Barry said he'll do it. So, and here he is now, and the movie's already done. And God bless you, Barry, for doing that.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
That would be my next question. So if people want to purchase this film, I mean, it's streaming, but can people purchase this film? And how many film festivals has this movie been in? And what's the film festival alive for this film so far? How's it going?
Yeah. Well, you know, the film festival, it was great. We had a few of them that I submitted it into, and I was just testing out the waters. We did it in San Antonio. We did it in Los Angeles and Hollywood at the Hollywood Paramount Studios, and so it won some awards, and a multi-winning award. If that, it won Best Picture at the Hollywood Independent Filmmakers Award Show out there at the Paramount lots. So that was a blessing to win 2 awards in one film festival, the Best Comedy and also Best Picture. So we won the whole best of the festival. So trying the film festival circuit was a blast, but really I was really just trying to get it out to the world than to go to the film festival circuit. Different producers and different directors do different things, and they have their mindset on how they want to do it. With me, I just wanted to tell the story and get it out there. And going to film festivals was just, monies and traveling. And we invited Barry to come out to the one, and Danny Trejo and Pepe to go to. Pepe showed up to the Hollywood, but Barry's schedule. Barry was filming. I think you were doing the ranch, Barry, or you were doing
probably.
something. So it's hard when you do a film festival because these actors might not be available to walk the red carpet and to be invited. But my main focus was just to get it out, to find a home for it. And luckily for us, ITN Distribution are now finding homes on Fandango now, Amazon Prime, and Tubi TV now. So I'm very blessed about that.
Anthony, so how did you hear about this project, and what was it about the script that called your name?
Actually, it's crazy. So I went into the studio at Danny and Aaron's studio to do an audition for a different movie. And I had met Danny briefly, and I think he had seen my audition. And a couple of weeks later, I believe he had contacted me to, I think through Steven, one of our other producers, to come back and audition for Margarita Man. And, I read through the story. I loved it. It had a very San Antonio feel. And, especially you don't have a lot of, like Hispanic films out there, especially not very many are being filmed in San Antonio. And I was like, well, heck yeah, I love the story. I love the character, a lot of fun. I usually do I feel like I do like a lot more drama, you know, and of course, you know, there's a lot of drama in the movie, but I never get to actually play like a fun character, you know what I mean? And I mean, reading the script, and have you seen the movie yet?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you know how Miguel is, you know, and just total party animal. And you know, one thing I love about acting is being able to portray something that I'm not used to, you know, to being, I guess, you know, or being like, and I'm really not like a crazy party animal, you know, I'm kind of a homebody. I like playing video games and stuff, and you know, just doing my thing. So no, the script definitely just spoke to me, and you know, I love Danny, you know, meeting him, just super nice guy, you know, very enthusiastic and you know, very passionate. And again, I mean, just something being filmed in San Antonio, me being from San Antonio, Texas, you know, I was like, well, heck yeah, you know, we got to show support. We got to bring more, you know, awareness to the scene out here, you know. So it's just an awesome story.
And going back on what you just said right now, you're much of a homebody. You like playing video games. So how was it getting into character and playing such a party monster? How was that like?
It was crazy, man. Honestly, like I kind of just like to get into the zone, I guess, or to kind of do a little bit of character development. I went to a few parties and whatnot, and I usually tend to like hang out in the back, and you know, maybe I'll have a drink by myself or with my friends or something, and I'll just do my own thing. But I was just kind of pushing myself out there to just really like talk to people and you know, make some new friends, and it was really awesome. And then on set, I was just still super nervous about it, but you kind of just have to shut that off at certain points, and you know, when you're filming, and just forget about who you are, you know, and just focus on the character and just take the bits of you and put it into that role, I suppose, if that makes any sense.
Right.
You know, you kind of try to take some with you, you know. But
So
yeah,
you didn't go to any college parties for research purposes?
yeah, research purposes. It was fun. It was cool. I didn't get in any trouble though. We're good.
Okay, good. And Barry, wow, how did this script come into your lap and you decided, you know what, this is the film that I got to do?
Well, I got the script, or actually, I think I got the scenes,
Yes.
and I thought I might be able to do something a little bit different with them, and I wanted to go to San Antonio mainly. I got my wife, took my wife down there. We went through the Alamo and went to all the things that we needed to do, and went and did the film. Actually, I think we were done by lunchtime.
You nailed it. You were so fast, so professional. I mean, it was like you killed it. So thank you for doing that.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I'm not usually up that early in the morning, but we beat all everybody. I think the garbage collectors weren't out yet.
That's funny.
We ate till we went to a restaurant and had dinner till about 11:30 at night, and then we had to be up at I think it's 4:30 in the morning.
4:35, yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty quick turnaround. But then we toured downtown, went off to the Alamo and to the art museum, and
Nice.
and then we drove back home. So it was a good deal. We had a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing this thing. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen any of it.
It's a funny film. Can't wait for you to see it. But you're a native Texan. What was it like? You've shot all over the world, all over the United States. What was it like? What's it like shooting in your native state of Texas?
Well, I've done quite a bit in Texas. I did, as a matter of fact, the last thing I did, I went and did a little couple of scenes for the Yellowstone down up at the 4 Sixes Ranch this last month. So I work in Texas quite a bit.
You've been in TV, you're on Netflix, so the new generation are discovering you in The Ranch and Netflix, and you've been in several classic movies, Wargames, Northern Express. What is the role that people recognize you the most when they come up to you and say, "Hey, aren't you the guy from?" What do they recognize?
Well, it depends. It's there's a big following for Northern Exposure, And there's a big following among girls of a certain age, around 30, who like One Tree Hill a lot. And
Yep.
then there's some of the computer fellas like Wargames. I think they like that because all the computers are outmoded in that movie. Then let's see. A lot of people love Lonesome Dove. A lot of ranchers and cowboys love that. And Urban Cowboy was the first studio movie I did, and that was a good time. People thought they found me down there at the petrochemical plants and just put me in the movie. I'd spent 20 years on stage before that, but that's a popular movie too. A lot of times, people who weren't even their parents weren't born when it got started come up and say it's their favorite movie. That's 40. Just made it 41 years ago.
Tell us a little bit. What was it like back then on your first reel 40 years ago, as opposed to now? What's changed in the industry since then? Everything.
Oh, a lot. When I was doing Lonesome Dove, I went in. They were editing the thing in a motel room. The editor was in there editing the thing, and I said, "Well, wait a minute. You're not doing. You're just cutting it on the computer." He said, "Yeah, that's what we do now." So a lot of stuff's changed. They've also changed the styles a lot. There's a lot of this MTV jump back and forth cutting. It makes me dizzy. I watch it and I don't know where in the hell they are.
Have you discovered a new generation of fans because of Netflix and the Ranch on Netflix?
Yeah, I think so. There's I try to keep up with the latest trends. I kind of subscribe to what my friend Ernie Borgnine did. He was trying to figure out what to do after he won the Oscar. Some little girl came by and selling Girl Scout cookies, and he talking to her, and she asked what he did for a living. He said, "I'm an actor." And she said, "Well, what are you on?" He said, "No, I'm a movie. I do movies." She said, "Well, my parents don't let me go to movies." And he called his agent right then and said, "Get me a series." So that's how he got on, what was that series, McHale's Navy. And that brought him more fame than anything, really. But, and then the last thing he did was SpongeBob SquarePants. So I try to find something that'll interest all throughout the ages.
You have diversified because you've been voice for a couple of video games as well.
Oh yeah, video games. I've never seen them because I don't know how to run them, but they tell me they're pretty good.
They are pretty good. Anthony, I guess, have you played any games that Barry has voiced in?
What games? I didn't know this.
Well, there's a couple of them called what was it, Command and Conquer or something like that. And then there's the latest ones that I've done have been John Madden's football.
Nice.
I played the coach on that, and then I played a general in something. I don't know what it was.
But
if you can't watch them, you forget what they are.
Right, of course, diversification. So Anthony, you've been in Walking Dead. I mean, how different is Walking Dead? I mean, it's a major TV series. I mean,
I never was in The Walking Dead.
You were in The Walking Dead?
All right.
No, Anthony.
Oh, Anthony Guajardo.
Anthony Guajardo.
Yeah. I was in the first season, and honestly, it was like my first. Oh no, it wasn't my first really big project. Actually, I did Sharkboy and Lava Girl when I was a kid. That was like my first big studio project. But It was incredible being on the Walking Dead set, because at first, like, I didn't know really anything about it. I hadn't read the comic books, and it was the first season, so people weren't talking about it that much yet. But you show up on set, there's like 200 zombie extras and a blown up tank in the street, all this craziness. It was awesome. But compared to Margarita Man, I mean, they're just two very, very different genres, I guess. But the only thing I would say is it was great being able to film at home. Honestly, I was able to sleep in my own bed. I didn't want a hotel room or anything. I wanted to be able to sleep in my own bed, relax, study my lines, things like that. But as far as comparison, I mean, we didn't have any zombies in this one. Maybe Margarita Man 2. I don't know. It's 2020.
Still in development. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
Let me ask you a question. Were you alive or dead in that movie?
I was
in
alive.
that show?
Yeah, I was
So
alive.
one of the dead people.
No, I wanted to. I wanted to play zombie.
These things kind of give me the creep, because I did a thing called Dead and Buried early in my career. It's a big hit in France.
Nice.
And it wasn't a big hit anywhere else, but it was in France. Of course, Jerry Lewis was a big hit in France too.
Sweet.
But anyhow, it was about zombies. Everybody in this town was dead. And the Undertaker kept filling us full of some kind of fluid and making us alive. But we never ate. We'd sit in a restaurant and we'd have our coffee and pie, but we'd never eat it. We'd take a little bit and then put it down and talk.
Oh, that's awesome. And so you were playing a zombie?
Yeah. And the Undertaker died, and we started finally just rotting off pieces of our face and things, and spending the all night in the graveyard for some of the shoot. It was a little bit creepy.
That is creepy. Did you have to sit in makeup for a really long time?
Not so long, because it just showed, like it looked like your cheek was falling off or something.
Gotcha. Oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah. I couldn't watch it. I watched the first 5 minutes of it, and they burned somebody up with a blowtorch, and I said, that's enough for me. I don't need it.
Barry, what kind of movies do you prefer working on more? Do you prefer zombies, comedies, westerns? What do you like?
I like to mix it up. I do like westerns though, but I'm getting so old that it's getting hard for me to get on a horse. So I've got to have a little help getting up there. Once I get up there, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you have a ranch here in Texas, correct?
I used to. I don't anymore. I'm livestockless.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Anthony, I have another question for you. You said you mentioned right now you were in Shark Boy and Lava Boy, Shark Girl and Lava Boy. They just recently did a new movie, We Can Be Heroes, that have them as grown-ups now. Are you in this remake?
I am not. I wish I was. And I just heard about that too. It's pretty awesome. I mean, I saw like I think I saw like a clip or something, and that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see that. Just nostalgic.
Danny, as a director, I mean, what was it like working in your hometown with big stars, and this was all the move? This was your baby. I mean, how did you wrangle them all in together?
Like I said, surrounding yourself with a good team, with good producers. Aaron Lee Lopez with Mutt Productions. His brother is Paul Matthew Lopez, and Paul Matthew Barry. He played Sergio. Oh, Sergio.
Oh yeah.
So he was the producer. He's also a writer and a producer. But Paul Matthew Lopez did an extremely well job. I wish we could have him on the Zoom too as well. He played Sergio, and he was Barry's sidekick, like as far as Barry bringing him on as a police campus. And Barry was the chief. So working with these caliber actors like Jesse Borrego, Pepe, Danny Trejo, Pepe Serna, and Barry Corbin, and Sebastian De La Cruz and Anthony Guajardo. The beautiful thing about that is the other actors like Renessa Sanders, like the other co-stars, and Sean Cody, and all the other actors what I think what the beautiful thing was that they were able to have these veteran actors come in and just like it's like if they took them under their wings and they were able to come out and start acting like getting into the character and making it more believable rather than independent film and they're acting. I didn't want that actors think like, oh, I'm an actor, so I'm just gonna act. But like Anthony said it, well said, an actor is not acting. He's playing a character and he's being true to that character and not being an actor. An actor is before you become the character. An actor is that you carry that. I'm an actor. But when you're acting, you're not an actor anymore. You're that character. And that's what those secondary and thirdary actors came in. And to learn from those veteran actors like Pepe Serna and Renessa Sanders working with Pepe, or Danny Trejo working with Anthony Guajardo and being in front of him as the dean, Barry Corbin acting in front of Paul Matthew Lopez. And then so the film has that authentic feel to it because these veteran actors, they know what they're doing, you know what I mean? And the younger actors, they know what they're doing, but it's nice to have that veteran come in and take them under the wings. So that's what made it so easy for me as a director to not over direct, not overstep my boundaries. With Barry, I mean, what is there to tell him? He read the script, he knew what he was going to do, what the descriptions were. All I had to tell him was, this is what I'm looking for, and this is what I would like out of you. And he says, blah, 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 blah. I got it. I know exactly what you need. Boom. Oh, Sergio, my boy, come on in. I need you to get to the bottom of this. He did what he was supposed to do. And I didn't have to over direct Barry or over direct Paul Matthews. So that's the key is to again surround yourself with a good team, actors, writers, producers, the camera guy, the DP, whatever it is. And once you get a good solid team, you'll get it. I'll be able to tell the story a lot smoother and a lot better with these actors having their freedom to get into that character and not overact.
Yeah, and Danny, you created a great culture on set too. I mean, we were all like a family, so we all bonded really well. It was very, it just flowed. It was very genuine, all of our relationships on set, and like you said, like I had Jesse and Pepe, walking me through, kind of coaching me a little bit, here and there, hey, try this, and it was awesome, having these veteran actors, and especially like, Danny Trejo too, I grew up on these guys, so it was amazing.
Yeah, and I love Wargames. I Matthew Broderick. I mean, I'm an '80s guy. I graduated in 1985, so when Wargames came out, that was like my high school years, and I
Yeah.
loved War. And I just always remember "Take It to Death Con 4." Like it was just like that's what I remember. I told Barry that when we had dinner that night, like. But yes, Urban Cowboy, Uncle Bob, again, an 80s kind of feel, or if it was in the 90s, but I think it was in the 80s. And that, again, I knew him as Uncle Bob. So sitting with Barry the night before, talking about what we're going to do the following day on his performance on set was a gift to be sitting with this veteran actor, a very professional veteran actor that I was in high school wondering what am I going to do in the future, and here I'm watching him, and now I'm doing the future, and I'm sitting with the guy that I'm watching, the actor, the man named Barry Corbin. So it was a blast. It's a
And
blast.
a good friend of mine one time told me, if they catch you acting, you're not doing it right.
There you go. Yeah, and Barry, if I may, your character was you did such a great job. It was my favorite part of the movie. I laugh every single time I see your scenes, man. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll get you the trailer, Barry, and then we'll get you the film too as well. I really want you to see. I mean, you knocked it out of the park, of course, and Paul Matthew Lopez being Sergio and then Anna Armstrong came in as your, Detective Anna, and so she did a wonderful job, Anna Montgomery. So
Yeah.
God bless them for participating.
Barry, what would be, there's a lot of up and coming actors that might be tuning in right now. What's your advice for actors that want to break into the industry? What do you suggest?
Well, my first suggestion would be if you can find something else you like doing and you can stand to do for the rest of your life, do that and act in community theater, because then you get to act. Otherwise, you spend your life trying to find a job. And it's an interesting thing, because you got to keep the innocence of an infant, but you got to grow the hide of a rhinoceros.
Wow.
And if you can't stand rejection, don't do this. Because most people, if you think about it, get rejected for a job maybe 4 or 5 times in their life. We get rejected 4 or 5 times a day. So it's it's pretty easy to do that for a day or two, but after a while you start thinking, well, at first you think, well, it's not me, it's just what they're looking for. And then you think, well, wait a minute, what I'm selling is me. So what they're rejecting is me. And then you start losing your confidence a little bit and start trying to do what you think they want you to do. And then you become a cookie cutter. So you've got to avoid that. That's what I mean about the hide of a rhinoceros. You've got to choose your way, stick with it. People are gonna tell you that's wrong. You agree with them, but you keep doing it the way you want to. I had a director one time say to me, "Cut! Don't make that face." I said, "Well, what face is that?" He said, "The face you just made." I said, "Well, you hired this face. If you don't like this face, fire this one and go get another one." But I don't know what you're talking about. You got to give me something a little more creative. I don't stand in front of the mirror in the morning and go make faces and try to figure out where I'm going to make this face. And he said, "Well, what do I tell you?" I said, "Well, tell me to think something else." He said, "Think something else." Okay, roll it, action. And I did the same thing again. He said, "That was perfect." He just wanted to say, he wanted to give me some direction. He didn't know what to give me, so he said, "Don't make that face." Well, that's not, that doesn't help me at all. Might help somebody. It didn't help me.
And Anthony, you're on the other end. You're on the other end. You're kind of somewhat new, but I mean you've had quite a bit of roles. But I mean, what's it like on your end? I mean, what's your advice for up and coming actors that want to get into the movie industry?
Honestly, I mean, a lot of what Barry said. I mean, you have to be tough. I did a lot of acting as a kid, and then like I had taken a little break in between. But like as a kid, like you're so innocent, and you think everything's great and whatnot. You go in for an audition, and I mean, I remember once they lined up a bunch of kids, and they were just like, 'cause they were already on set. I guess it was some kind of, they needed someone last minute, and just right in front, they were like, "I want that kid," and I was just like, it wasn't me, so I like remember sitting in the car on the way home. We had driven like an hour or something like that. I think it was like to Austin. And I like started crying, and my mom like turned around and she's like, "Son, is this what you want to do? You're going to have to get used to this. It's just part of the job." And, I had thought long and hard about it, even as like I think I was like 8 or 9 years old, about something, like that, having to be rejected all the time. And that was just kind of when I had accepted it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, whatever. I don't care. So, I go into an audition and show them, or I'll portray, what I think this character should be like, or you know, instead of just kind of thinking, oh, well, this is probably what they want, you know, I just kind of go in, I'm like, hey, I'm going to show them this character. If they want to give me, you know, maybe some notes or directions, maybe I can change it up. Of course, you know, it's part of, you know, part of the gig, maybe, as long as they're not telling me to change my taste. And, you know, I'll just, you know, kind of go from there, give them my take on it. And if they like it, awesome. If not, then, you know, oh, well, we had different visions of this movie and it probably wouldn't work anyway then if I was on set doing something totally different from what they wanted, you know. And that's part of why, you know, I really enjoyed working with Danny, because, you know, he was very open with me. You know, he'd tell me the backstory, his passion about it, you know, and it helped me bring that character to life, you know. So basically, you know, just like Barry said, you got to have rhinoceros hide, you know, and just keep an open mind, you know, and just don't let it get you down. You know, there are times when you feel like, oh, okay, it's just time for me to give up, just time for me to quit, you know, it's done, you know. And those are the times when you really have to sit and think, you know, like, how many times did your idols, you know, experience this, you know, kind of pain or rejection? You know, it's going to happen, but you just have to stay strong, you know, and stay positive, because it's all about mindset in the game. So, you know, what you're thinking is kind of what's going to happen. You know, you think negatively, then, you know, they're going to see that. So you just have to keep yourself balanced. Yes, if that makes any sense.
Yes, I get it.
Okay, cool.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Like I said, we would have loved to have all met you in person, but unfortunately, this is how it is right now. But thank you very much for joining us. Again, Margarita Man, directed by Daniel Ramos. We have Anthony Guajardo. We have Barry Corbin. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. And just thank you once again. Daniel, any final thoughts?
No, just I mean, just thank you to you guys, of course, and thank you to all the cast and crew, extras, everyone, every you know, crew member. That family helped out. My family jumped in. It's an independent film, so there's a lot of thank yous, and you know, if I would start off with names, I would be here for about a day and a half. But just thank you in general to everyone that had anything to do with the Margarita Man movie, and thank you guys for showcasing it at the CineSol Film Festival.
Thank you, Danny, for running a good set.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you for doing it, Anthony. Thank you.
Of course.
God bless you. And stay safe.
Yes, everybody stay safe.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you.
Put on them masks.
Hi, my name is Henry Serrato. I'm the CineSol Film Festival director, and joining us via Zoom, we have Daniel Ramos, the director of Margarita Man, and we have Pepe Serna, who makes a appearance, major role in Margarita Man. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us, COVID 2020, right?
Right.
Well, thank you. We would have, again, loved to have had an actual physical screening at a venue and have a cast and crew and meet a Q&A and meet all of you, but unfortunately, this is the way that it's gotta be. So, Daniel, we talked a little bit about Margarita Man. So how did you write a role in mind for Pepe? I mean, how did Pepe get involved with Margarita Man?
Yeah, originally when I came up with the concept, I always knew it was going to be like a super cool grandpa, like a very hip kind of cool grandpa, and I knew that I was going to have a father, and then I was going to have the son. So it was going to be like a trio. Yeah, the grandfather, father, and son. So it was going to be the trio, and that's where I knew that I knew Jesse Borrego from like since '95 or something like that. So I knew Jesse Borrego for sure. Didn't know about Anthony Guajardo, but after watching Aaron, which he's a writer and a producer and has his own company, he had worked with Pepe on a film called Gino's Wife, and when I saw Pepe's performance, I said, you know what, you know, because he was a mafioso, it was a cool movie. It's called Gino's Wife, and I said, you know what. And Aaron wrote the script, or you know, he directed it, or I don't know if he wrote it, but he directed or I don't even know. But all I know, he was the producer of Gino's Wife, and I saw Pepe's performance, and I'm like, you know what would be cool, because it's a comedy, and I love Pepe when he was on a movie called A Million to One. And so I said, you know what? I know Pepe from Scarface. And then I'm like, wow, you know what? He's actually could be this cool, super cool grandpa host, so I said, Grandpa Jose, yeah, he could be that cool grandpa. So when I saw that film, I said immediately, Pepe's got to play the grandpa because he's not a grandpa like a viejito grandpa with a cane or a wheelchair, but he's a super cool grandpa. So we reached out to him. Aaron and I reached out. And we met him in L.A. And lo and behold, Pepe was really interested in being a part of it. So thank you very much, Pepe, for jumping in. And he actually helped a lot with the script, and he made it his own. And I was so open to his professionalism and his creative on his character, and it was just right up the alley. So I love that. That was really cool and professional of Pepe to do. So he brought a lot of that coolness to the film.
Yeah, I wanted to play all three parts, but he didn't go for it.
Yeah, like Tyler Perry, right? Yeah.
Pepe, so I gotta ask you, how much of the cool grandpa is actually Pepe Serna,
Like totally, dude.
right? Totally.
Yeah, it's I've been an improvisational actor my whole life, and so I put everything into it. All, just the well, we had met. Daniel came to Hollywood, and Aaron was there, and Aaron actually co-wrote, produced, and directed Gino's Wife.
That's it.
But he called me up and said, Danny wants to meet you. So they came out to Hollywood, and he was here for other meetings and meeting with his longtime director friend, and so we met up, and he said, yeah, I really want you for this. And he says, and you can add, do your thing, and so I did.
And actually, he brought in his own wardrobe, Henry. It was like, I love the way he dressed. I like the cool glasses he wears. He's totally hip, like you can actually see the artistic. Well, there it is. See how it is? And then, so I knew like, man, this could bring like a cool comedy, cool grandpa feel to it. And I said, oh, man. And we had a margarita he said, okay, he'll do the film. And we made a toast. And we were at that restaurant in LA, like somewhere downtown, and we toasted to a margarita. So I knew right there we had Pepe. I was like, yes, thank you.
Pepe, I'm sure you get offered scripts quite a bit. What was it about Margarita Man that caught your eye and said, I want to be a part of this movie?
When they said, would you do this? I said, yeah. No. Meeting with Daniel, and he told me the story, and it was really, in a sense, it was his family story, in a way. It had a lot of that in it, and so I said, yeah. And I love working with young directors, because I've been doing this for a long time. I'm 76, and I started when I was 3 there in Corpus Christi, and so I love doing it, and I love promoting. Everybody really, but South Texans, forget about it. Yeah, I love being a part of that and taking it and showing. I mean, we need it. We need all you young filmmakers to go, because Hollywood isn't going to do it for us. Right. We are the new Hollywood. Right. So that's it. We have to, the fundraising and all that to make the movies. And that was the tricky part for Daniel, as it is for everybody. And with this Margarita Man, wow. When the premiere and all the showings we had in San Antonio were just, it really is too bad that we couldn't have had an audience because of COVID, because the raza loves it. They love seeing our stories, and this one especially. And I was a little risque grandpa, it was a guy, he wasn't in the old ways. He's very hip, too hip to hop.
Too hip to hop. How many days were you shooting all of your scenes?
God, I'm trying to remember. It must have been.
It was about like 4 or 5 days or something, or maybe.
Yeah, something like that, close to a week.
Yeah.
off and on. And I always like working with the actors and everybody involved to pitch in and get them motivated to improvise their own thing. Uh, yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
that was a fun thing.
I just watched this movie and I just picture that the behind the scenes, it's such a party vibe because I mean it's a fraternity and it's margaritas and dancing and all this. What was it like behind the scenes, Pepe? I mean, certainly you got some crazy stories as the crazy grandpa there.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just the most fun thing is when you have the freedom to improvise and just go with, especially in the scene, to go with in the moment,
Yeah.
and just say something that's a borderline, so that it can keep the GP,
Yeah.
PG, excuse me, the
PG.
GP,
PG, right?
Yeah.
So did
and
you?
PG in Texas for the Mexicanos, what that stands for also, right? Way
No.
back in the day, pregnant. Está PG. You don't remember that?
You're PG. Oh my God.
How many? You said you like to improv quite a bit. I mean, how much of this was your dialogue was scripted, and how much of it was improv?
I don't even remember. I know that I helped out with Jesus. When
Jesse James.
the Jesse James thing I came up with and got it going. And so it's hard. Yeah, a lot of it actually
Yeah.
was. And did you see the very last clip after the credits about the blonde?
Yes.
About the
Yeah, that
peroxide.
that was Happy Guerrero's joke.
Ah.
Happy, and I said, hey, that's a happy joke, but I
Yeah.
didn't finish it. It's like when you assume that everybody knows what you're talking about, but unless you're at Tejano or have heard Happy's tell that joke, you wouldn't know that it was Happy Guerrero's joke.
Hey Henry, I was gonna add about that character that Pepe, improvisation and then reading off the script. But the thing I loved about Pepe was that as a professional actor that he is, he would call from LA and I was in San Antonio prepping the job and pre-production, and he would call and we would get Aaron and myself on speaker, and we would be talking to Pepe, and he'll be like, you know what, I was thinking about this scene here, and I think I want to go a little bit this way, that way. So that's the cool thing about, directing and having a professional actor communicate with me before going into the filming, is that he really, methodly gets into his character. Now, this wasn't like, I mean, it was a comedy, but if it was a drama, I'm sure I would be in heaven knowing that this actor really wants to get in his lane and open it up and bring a character like that to. And so when he says, you know what, instead of calling him Jesus, why don't we why don't I call him, you know what, Jesse James? And so the collaboration like that with the professional actor, hands down, it was a blessing. And when he came in to work with him on the set now and to making it his own, I was in heaven. It was like, um, first time directing a feature film, he made it really, really easy for me. He really did.
And I had met him, the kid, when he was like 7 years old in Corpus. I
Oh
have
yeah,
a picture with him, and he was ready, man. He was right, spot on, and ready to go.
yeah.
Uh,
Sebastian de la Cruz, yeah, the
yeah,
actor that played Jesse
yeah.
James. So yeah,
And Pepe, so the fact that it was shot in San Antonio, there's a lot of Latinos on the set, before, behind the camera, in front of the camera. What was it like? Because I mean, like we just talked about earlier, I mean, it's all about supporting independent filmmakers. It's all about supporting Latinos. What was it like being on I guess I would say primarily Hispanic set?
Yeah, no, it's always great. One of the first ones, I don't know if you ever saw Raíces de Sangre that Jesus Trevino did.
Oh.
That it was the first Chicano Mexican production that we shot in Mexicali. And it's a great movie. Great movie. The maquiladora on the border. You would really, being from the border, you would really dig it. And then we did Seguin, that we shot in Bracketville, not Bracketville, in Happy Shahan's Ranch. What is it, Danny?
Isn't the oh, God, man?
Alamo Village.
Is it Alamo that Bracket Alamo Village, right there where
What's the name of this town? What's it's a anyway? It's something. Anyway. It's on, and I got my new movie, by the way, just came out on Amazon.
the
Prime,
Planters or
Going
no,
Rogue, Going Rogue, Going Rogue that we shot 15 years ago, and it's just now coming out. Jose is in it, Rennie Santoni, Daniel Baldwin, a lot of, but I starred in it, and Rennie Santoni, I don't know if you know him, but he was in Inner Laughing. He just passed away, as did Jose, and it was Jose was great in it. But no, it's great to work on a set con pura raza. You know, it's like, wow, man. It's always great to work anyway, but we got to be able to do that more, you know, and then have our audience support us. That's our problem, you know. We keep blaming Hollywood, but it's our own raza that doesn't support our films. The African Americans, they have the First Weekenders Club. You know, that first weekend they all go, then the movie has legs and it goes on to make money. Right now, nobody's making money at the theaters because it's not open, you know, for it. But we really need to get behind our each other and help out, because it's just it's no fun to make a movie and know that it's good. Something like this Margarita, man. I mean, I'm hoping that Margarita 2 is coming around the corner, because
that's right.
but you need to raise that money to get that, because this has a little history now, and then to create more, it would be really fabulous.
Daniel, again, Margarita Man, tell everyone again where they can find Margarita Man.
It's actually on Amazon Prime and Fandango now. It's also on Tubi TV, but it has commercials in it. So the distribution, ITN is doing their best to try to find the homes for it and the strategies and whatever have you. So pretty soon it'll be wherever they feel that it's right, and whatever deals it can make, if it's cable or if it's passed on to Netflix or whatever have you. But right now it's on Tubi TV, Amazon Prime, and Fandango now.
Well, perfect. Then, gentlemen, thank you very much. Would have loved to have had you guys here in person and give you all a hug, but 2020 COVID. But thank you very much for joining us via Zoom meeting. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Henry.